Good afternoon. My name's Nate Hood with the Estes Group. I've got with me today Tim Medlin, one of our longtime customers, and we just wanted to share his experience in working with the Estes Group and kind of what the process was like getting to this point. Good afternoon, Tim.
Good afternoon. How you doing, Nate? Good to talk
Doing
to you again.
great. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us this
Certainly,
afternoon. Definitely appreciate hearing the good and bad about customer experience and being able to share that out.
certainly.
I wanted to kind of work our conversation around a few questions because I think what your story contains is something a lot of folks can relate to. So, if you would, Tim, could you share with us kind of what life was like before you met the Estes Group? You know, the kind of
Yeah,
problems that you had, the stuff that either had you scratching your head or laying awake at night.
absolutely.
Were there ways that you felt like technology was a hindrance rather than a help to your business?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the areas that we all, I think, in this arena have been fighting for years is whether or not we're going to move from cloud, or excuse me, from hosted to cloud. And we have our own servers sitting around. We have our own operating systems and our own SQL database servers that are constantly in need of maintenance, upgrading. We have a 9 to 5 job. In my case, a 7 to 5, where we have to be here, present and accounted for during the day for all the employees. And then at the same time, you have to be available on those nights and weekends to do those server migrations, upgrades, and things like that. So we had ultimately made the decision to move things up to a cloud provider. And as we began our search, we had the opportunity to talk with Estes Group and actually go up and visit the Estes Group at their data centers that they use with US Signal in Michigan. And just the redundancy that was provided for us, the speed capability, the current hardware maintenance, everything that was being done was all of the stuff we looked to try to do ourselves, but it was being done for us. And Estes has made the whole process an easy process. And when I say that, I've migrated data centers in the past. I've moved from data center to data center. I've moved from hardware platform to hardware platform, and those are typically very difficult transitions, nerve-wracking to say the least. When we transitioned from our physical data center down here in Northern Virginia to the data centers up in Michigan, it was about a 2.5 hour process to migrate all of our servers because of the way they set up the replication from our using a product called Zerta, which I'd never heard of, but they replicated all of our servers quietly in the background for weeks before we did the migration. We scheduled the migration in about 2.5 hours. We were up and running live with all of our stuff in completely different state, completely different environment, and everything was running faster than it was with our servers running here locally. So all of our fears of migration and movement of data and movement of physical hardware became nothing. They were literally nothing.
Wow. I don't meet a lot of folks that go through multiple migrations like that in their lifetime. Usually the first one scares enough folks off. So it's interesting to hear that you had been through it before and still made the decision to make the move again, Tim. Was there anything that stuck out to you as you went through that selection process, maybe that was different than other options that you looked at, or anything special about our offering that appealed to you particularly?
Yeah, I think the big thing that stuck out for me, I've been in the IT business since I was 19 years old, and without giving my immediate age, I'm getting close to 60, and a lot of the providers that we spoke to were not offering us the opportunity to still maintain a large portion of the control of our environment. So Estes gives us not only the hands-on at the data center, the capability to use their expertise and background, but I still have complete control over my environment. I'm able to still get into my VMware consoles, look at my servers, manage and maintain it, and get an inside view of what's going on. A lot of cloud providers kind of lock you out of some of the things that you, as an IT person, not only enjoy, but also use to your advantage for making decisions going forward. Estes gives us that chance to still maintain some heavy duty control over what we do.
Sure. And knowing a little bit about your business, I understand how that control can be important. And
Yeah.
I think one of the things that people like about us is the willingness we have to share in the day-to-day operation, where a lot of cloud providers, kind of hold you at arm's length, or maybe don't want to let you see what's behind the curtain.
Absolutely.
We're tickled to have folks come up and see how we provide the solution, to actually walk through the physical buildings where those data centers, live, and see how we provide the service that we do. And for some folks, they kind of don't want to know. My wife has never looked under the hood of her car, and she's perfectly content to take off down the road.
Right.
I
Which
still
you
gotta
guys
see what's
offer
going
that
on.
as well. You guys offer the ability for us to not have to look under the roof at all, under the hood at all.
Yeah.
You give us the ability to just have a completely maintained and managed environment. And I've been in this business for long enough that I'm not willing to give up that kind of control. But I don't have to be here every single day now, which I used to have to take a vacation and be on call constantly. But now you guys will work as the experts on my team with my support in-house, so that I can actually take some time and relax a little bit when I need to take some time off.
Well, we definitely all need that, and I'm glad to hear you feel like you're able to do that. The confidence
Yeah.
is there. Anything else that changed dramatically for you? Being able to take a vacation is great,
Yeah,
but are there other things since you've been with Estes that are different than they were before?
absolutely. We have we're a privately held company, mid-Atlantic region. And I came, before landing at this company, I came from a consulting environment. But one of the things you'll find out from being in a consulting environment is you're constantly refreshing and renewing your skill set. When I sat down on this desk 18 years ago, I started slowly losing that edge. And so what Estes has done for me is Estes keeps a current set of skills on the web interface that we use, on the ERP application that we're using. They literally are an expert when I'm running low on answers. So I've been able to contact the appropriate expert directly. That's one of the other beauties of the Estes folks, is I don't have to sit back. I can submit a help desk ticket. The person that's going to be working that help desk ticket contacts me directly. I don't have to go through tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 support to get somebody who's qualified to answer my question. So from my perspective, it's like I've gathered a group of experts that work inside my IT department, but they don't directly work for the company I work for. So it's a great marriage of experience on my part with the new application and development skills that I don't any longer bring to the table, because I've been in this field, or sitting in this desk as an IT director for so long now.
Sure. And obviously there are advantages to both. We have as one of our goals to make available to you, kind of like you said, the right smartest guy for whatever situation you encounter. Because frankly, it's gotten so complex that it's impossible for somebody in your position to maintain that whole skill set. You really need to be, a walking Swiss Army knife. So what we like to think we give you is access to, a few more of those tools that you may not use on a daily basis, but when you have a need, the need's urgent. And so we want you to feel like you have, a full complement of tools available to you. And I'm glad to hear that it works.
And to speak to the need being urgent, that's one of the things that you guys have definitely, you always get the promise from sales, from every company I talk to, we're right there when you need us. But I've been in this business long enough, from dealing with telecom companies to other service providers, whether they be application service provider, network infrastructure service provider, where I've always gotten the commitment that, yeah, we're there for you. We're going to be able to take care of your needs. One of the things Estes does that they do very well is, I've had an expert, whether it happens to be somebody in Michigan or somebody in California, every time I need it. if it's evening hours, if it's morning hours, it's been easy for me to call up and say, hey, we got to get this thing done tonight at 9 o'clock my time, because that's when I got people off the system. And I've never had a concern or question from Estes about, hey, that's a tough time for us. It's always, okay, we'll see you at 9 o'clock. And we've been able to get things handled in a very efficient manner. So been very happy with that.
Yeah, that is great to hear. Tim, is there anything else that we didn't cover that you'd like to share with folks out there who might be considering Estes for cloud hosting or other services?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that all of us can expect with every implementation that we do is that there's going to be issues somewhere along the way. And one of the things that Estes has been very good about is addressing those issues immediately, not only with the individual who you're working with, whether it's an engineer, whether it's an application developer. So if we run into a problem, we're able to contact the person immediately and say, hey, this report you just did for us, it's not quite right. Can you redo this? And within 2 hours, typically, we're looking at a fix for that report so that we can roll it out. When we're talking about a networking issue, whether it's DNS related or Active Directory related, there's the experts in house. So I have not ever had the kind of response that I've gotten from Estes in whether you want to call it fixing bugs or whether you want to call it, continuing to work through a process. We've always had great response from the technical guys. And I think that's due to a couple things. Number one, I have direct email access to the guy that's working on my problem. I do work with a help desk system. I got an 800 phone number. I've got a help desk email address. We create the tickets there. They're very responsive. But when you get to a situation where you feel like you need somebody right now, you don't have to keep working through that system. We've got access from our company's perspective directly to the person that's solving the problem, and we can typically get an answer within a very quick amount of time.
Yeah, we've all had that experience, and there's nothing more frustrating than dealing with that level one tech when you're already 2 or 3 steps down the road with a problem, and they come back and say, well, is it plugged in? Yeah,
Yep.
I've kind of got that covered. And we try to eliminate that, from our process. There is, an opportunity, I guess, for something to go wrong with every big project. And
Yep.
the way we found to solve for that is to move those resources closest
Absolutely.
to the problem, get their, hands warm around the fire with you,
Right.
and make sure that we're in lockstep and working towards the goals you have, be it serving, or solving an emergency need, or something that's planned that we know is coming, and we're able to help you solve in that way. So,
Yeah.
man,
Great.
I appreciate you sharing that, and all of your experience, Tim. Absolutely, we appreciate you spending time with us today.
Sure.
Would it be okay if going forward, when we have folks that have questions about your experience with EstesGroup, that we connect them with you directly so that you can
Yeah, that's
continue
not a
to
problem.
share on our behalf?
Absolutely. I would love to be able to share on your behalf. And I find that, when I was moving forward with my decision making, you guys had introduced me to several of your clients at that time. That really helped me to make my decision going forward, because there's nothing like a person who has experienced it sharing with you their experience before making that step. It gave me a level of comfort, and I'm happy to help other people have that level of comfort before I took it and presented it to my CFO and my vice president of operations. When you have the ability to say, well, I've spoken to 3 people who have a fantastic story about their experience with Estes, I'd be happy to be one of those folks for you guys.
And I absolutely appreciate that. You said it best earlier. I think all of us salespeople kind of start to sound alike after a little while, and I can accept that. But I love the fact that we've got a long list of folks like you who have not had a perfect experience. We always say every one of these projects comes with a hiccup or two, but I think it's almost better for you to see how we respond when things don't go 100% to plan, or we encounter something that we didn't anticipate, and we're able to kind of leverage our nimbleness and our responsiveness to give you a good answer and kind of keep things moving forward. So Absolutely appreciate you spending time with us today and your willingness to act as a reference for us going forward. And for certain, Tim, I'll tell you the same thing I tell all of our customers. I sleep with my phone under my pillow. If you have a problem or a question at any point throughout the process, please don't hesitate to give me a call. Always glad to help.
Sounds good, Nick. Thank you very much.